Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. So
this is Layla Santinello. She has been missing since June 27th, 2023, and she disappeared from Kingsport, Tennessee. Chronicles of Olivia and I went out to Kingsport, Tennessee on several different trips, searching for Layla Santinello or any information leading to her whereabouts. These are my thoughts on this case.
Well, I have to be honest with you. I was hoping by now we would have found Layla. So this has been very hard. You know, we want to bring her home. We want to make sure that her family knows what happened to her, I think is really the most important. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. Just like to speak to them just for a moment and just say, if you know something, say something, because her life does matter. For the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
Hey guys, I am still in a lot of pain, so you guys see where we're at today. But I did want to go over our scheduled afternoon. It's coming a little late. I apologize to you guys. So I'm going to try to move on through some of the hot topics going on. This is just out. It was breaking news when I was setting up this live and getting everything going. So it's probably an hour old news. There are, I think it was 3 or 4 people, 4 men charged in the murder death of a 7-year-old Jackson boy. So we're just going to dive right in and get you guys already up to snuff. And this is breaking news out of Jacksonville, Florida, about a 7-year-old's murder.
Of JSO's homicide unit, I announce the arrests of Keith Johnson, Donnell Larkins, Gerard Sykes, and Keith Fields for the January 24th shooting that tragically ended the young life of 7-year-old Bryan Allen Jr. That shooting also seriously injured Lafayette Mango. The detectives standing with me have worked tirelessly to build the cases that have led to these arrests. These suspects have all been arrested for second-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted second-degree murder. At 24, 20, and 18 years of age, respectively, Sykes, Larkins, and Fields are all documented gang members. Johnson is a 21-year-old documented gang associate. On the screens behind me, you'll see them being walked over this morning to be charged. 2 days after this tragic event, I visited with Bryan Allen Jr.'s grieving parents. And during that meeting, I promised them that this agency would do everything in its power to bring the perpetrators of this senseless and horrific violent crime to justice. And we've only just begun. This is an ongoing investigation, so there's very little that I will share about the facts and the circumstances of this case. But what I can tell you is this. This murder was a culmination of escalating violence between 2 rival street gangs or street groups. It was a targeted, planned act, one with which during the murders clearly saw Bryan walking innocently with the intended target, Lafayette Mango. With these arrests, the first chips fall in this investigation, but they won't be the last. There are other individuals who planned and participated in this heinous act. We know who they are, and our investigators are building strong evidentiary cases against those perpetrators. They will be arrested, and they will face the justice system. I want to take this opportunity to speak directly to those who continue to use violence to glorify violence in our community. This is not a game. There are innocent people in our community.
There must be something going on their end, not mine.
JSO will not rest, and the good people of the city are free. We're going to come for you. That's a promise. We won't rest. We'll not tire. You will be held accountable.
All right, so that's out of Jacksonville, Florida. That's on their end. Thought I would let you know. I'm going to get through some of these because they also lag our system down. This is pretty interesting, I've got to say. Let me get myself back on the screen. Let me put this one up there. There we go. This one is very, very interesting. Now, many of you guys know who the Tiger King is, and you understand the story behind everything that's going on with him. Well, here is almost a similar story. And people are saying it is definitely alike. So Ghost Hunters Adventure star Aaron Goldwyn, which is seen here and here, right? His lovely, beautiful wife here tried to have him killed. So his wife, Victoria, was arrested over a Joe Exotic style murder for hire plot involving a Florida prison inmate. That is correct. This person reached out to an inmate, had conversations with this inmate, paid this inmate like $2,500 so far. The only reason why this plot was foiled is because that inmate got where they look in their rooms and stuff like that, and they found the contraband that he was not supposed to have that cell phone. And during, going through the phone and inspecting the phone on who he was having contact with, that's when they realized there was this murder plot. So if he had hid the phone well and didn't get caught with the phone, this man may be dead. And it can't be taken as a joke because I'm going to read it here. You'll find out she spent $2,500 already towards everything. So her name is Victoria Goodwin. She's 32 years old, and she was reaching out to Grant Amato. And he is serving life without the possibility of parole for murdering his parents and brother. Make sure this is on the big screen. It's not on the big screen. There you go. You guys can read that now. So here it is. Right here, she was, this is a Florida inmate, Grant Amato, who was serving a life sentence without the possibility for parole for murdering his parents and brother, to have her husband murdered by a hitman. And so he was kind of the middleman that was arranging this guy that's already in prison for doing something like this. And all of her posts, she looks happy and in love. Well, they even found, I got to read this. Let me find the message. It's down a little further. Where is it? It is shocking. Where is it? I passed it. God burn it. There it is. There it is. She understood exactly what she was doing. Am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce? She knew divorce was on the table, and she was choosing to end his existence and questioning whether she's a bad person. Yes. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. I know we talk about kind of topics that are breaking kind of in the news right now. But this is a case that we're going to be going over in just a second. That should be on the main channel, but we're going to discuss it here. I may choose to discuss it on the main channel. We will decide here after a while. But this is something that we have discussed for quite some time about Bryan Kohberger. We've talked about Plan B. And we said if they can't find a specific person to blame this crime on, they're making up a fictitious person. So now all of a sudden, I kind of got a chuckle because this was in, my news feeds when I was researching for the breaking news for today that I wanted to discuss. Aaron always gets the short end of the stick, but this is crazy, unbelievable. Yeah. Well, I guess I don't understand the reason why people that have an opportunity, like, I don't know how to explain this, but if death happens leaving because somebody's violent and somebody has to defend themselves, that's one thing. Some women don't really, or feel like they don't have a choice, or are too fearful to divorce their husbands because of abuse. This lady is not really citing abuse. She just seems, she didn't have any reason. She just wanted him gone. She's not saying she's fearful of him or he was smacking her around again. So she could have gotten a divorce and both split ways and go on. But she chooses to end his existence? For what? For what? The only thing I can think of is jealousy, honestly. Because it doesn't seem like she was fearful in the marriage. It doesn't sound like she was hurting for money. You know what I'm saying? So if you remove like the love triangle and the greed, what are you left with? Jealousy. She's not saying that she wants to do this for the money. Thank you, Cheyenne. I hope you're doing well. They conjured up a lot of demons on that show. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, people don't realize you're sometimes asking certain things to come on in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Asking for certain things to come on in. All right, so Bryan Kohberger is making headlines. They're really trying to rein the trial in. They're trying to get certain things excluded. The DNA is not being excluded. The IgG is not being excluded. But the prosecution, it sounds like, in here is not going to be bringing it up. I'll read the whole article so I'm not paraphrasing anything or missing out of turn. Hey, Judy, it's nice to see you, love. Yes, Scott Peterson. I know, it sounds like that. It sounds like that. Thank you, Cheyenne. God bless you. Thank you for that. Oops, hit the wrong one. They cleanse and cleanse, don't worry. So Bryan Kohberger's prosecution, or the prosecution says they're going to agree, to not really go into the IgG other than it's just a tip or something like to that effect. I'll read it verbatim here in just a second. But they're now planning to argue that this knife sheath recovered from the crime scene could have been planted by the real killer of the 4 University of Idaho students, according to prosecutors. And just yesterday, we were talking about how they're really reining in on what type of language. Oh, Cheyenne, thank you. Thank you. I see VAs in the chat as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love Bug. I hope you guys are doing well. Keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road. Keep it between the ditches. Keep it between the ditches. So they were reining in the language, like bushy eyebrows. They're trying to make sure that bushy eyebrows can't be used during the trial, or referring to Bryan Kohberger as the murderer or murderer, or it's just all kinds of weirdness is coming out of Bryan Kohberger's attorney's mouth related to what she wants restricted and all this, that, and the other. So we are seeing the fight that they're having related to this. So anyways, in the state's filing released Tuesday afternoon, prosecutors summarized a defense filing that appeared to be sealed. Interesting. Instead of challenging the conclusion that the DNA on the knife sheath belonged to the defendant's expert disclosures reveal the defense's plan is to argue that the DNA on the knife sheath doesn't prove the defendant was ever at the crime scene, and the knife sheath itself could have been planted by the real perpetrator. The prosecutor's filings quote a defense expert's disclosure that prosecutors say reveals Kohberger's lawyers intend to call an expert in forensic biology and DNA who will testify that there is good support that Mr. Kohberger's DNA was found on item 1.1, a swab from the knife sheath. No further information from the defense expert disclosure is provided in the prosecution's filing dated March 10th, and any response from Kohberger's attorney has not been made public. The DNA recovered on the button of the knife sheath, which ultimately led investigators to Kohberger, is a key piece of evidence in the case and has been the subject of multiple motions ahead of trial. The Idaho State Lab first located a single source of male DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath found on the bed next to Mogen's body at the crime scene. Authority used investigative genetic genealogy, better known as IgG, a field of forensic science combining DNA analysis with genealogical research to connect that sample to Kohberger's families, prosecutors have said. Investigators then went to Kohberger's family's home in Pennsylvania and pulled items from the family trash to test against the knife sheath sample. A DNA profile obtained from the trash was identified as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect knife profile. And that was according to the court documents. A cheek swab from Kohberger is what confirmed the statistical match. Kohberger's defense team has repeatedly questioned the use, legality, and accuracy for DNA testing done in each step. A new glimpse into Kohberger's potential defense strategy comes in a filing from Idaho State prosecutors saying they are willing to agree with the defense's position to exclude trial evidence related to IgG. Prosecutors say they only plan to here's the information we were just talking about. Prosecutors say they only plan to refer to IgG material as a generic tip without revealing the source or the substance of the tip, the filing says. So that's the information you need to know related to the stuff going on in the Bryan Kohberger case. This is really, really, really important because I got to tell you, we're going to be out there and there is a lot we need to go over. I think the first thing we are going to do is set up a live to cover just the probable cause affidavit. The probable cause affidavit is mind-blowing in and of itself. It really, truly is. This is one, and I said this when the day it came out. Go back. You can fact check me. Just go to the Bryan Kohberger #Idaho4, right? And I got to tell you, when that probable cause affidavit, I was literally shocked because it was the most detailed probable cause affidavit I have ever read on this show or ever read at all. It was a very, very specific, and it didn't even contain all the information. It only contained what they needed to contain to arrest this man, but they knew that this was a public interest case, and I think that they added additional information in the probable cause affidavit, specifically to satisfy a lot of questions that would have come that they would not have been able to answer otherwise. Just my personal thought on that, but you never know. All right, there has been some major updates. I was about to jump over one. The Gilgo Beach murders. Rex Heuermann is now in the spotlight again. So they have an update, an upcoming court date to separate the cases. And also they're saying crucial DNA evidence, a hearing on the crucial DNA evidence. So I'm going to read that. I do know that right now the defense is trying to break up all the cases. And I think more cases are going to come in. And after reading this article, I also believe there's some IgG testing and stuff that happened in Rex Heuermann's case too. I think this IgG is a really good pathway forward. It's being used to clear a lot of cold cases. We've had a lot, a more than usual number of cold cases that have been recently being solved, some going back to 30, 40 years back, and people are getting arrested. So finally, I wouldn't want to be a criminal in today's society. I'm just saying, right? When I was 20, we got away with a lot. We didn't get away with murder, but we got away with a lot, okay? And it was simply because technology, there wasn't the internet, and there wasn't a whole lot of cameras. I'm just saying, okay? I wouldn't want to be a criminal in today's society. I like who I am today. I'm just saying, not playing. All right, guys. Oh, I got to show you guys that shirt because I want to wear it. What did I do with my shirt? Yes, I do know what I did with my shirt. I got to show you guys this shirt so I can wear it tomorrow. Okay. Rex Heuermann. Let me get you guys on the big screen. There you go. So I don't know, depending on when this is, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We can see what we can do. So the man charged in a string of slings known as Gilgo Beach murders appear in court Wednesday as his defense team seeks to get crucial DNA evidence excluded from trial and to break up the cases against Rex. Rex is now 61 years old, and he has pled not guilty to all of the 7 murders he has been accused of committing. And he was accused of committing as bodies were unearthed from Gilgo Beach, i.e. Gilgo Beach, or Gilgo serial killer, or Gilgo, right? It used to be the Long Island serial killer, but I don't know when it recently went from the Long Island serial killer to the Gilgo Beach murders, but maybe it's something that they need to do now that it's in court. I don't know. So a judge on Wednesday scheduled a pretrial hearing to determine whether DNA evidence linked to Heuermann to hair found at 6 of the crime scenes should be deemed admissible. The hearing is set for March 28th, said Tanya Lopez, a spokesperson for the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. So that's going to be March 28th. And I will tell you, if we can get there, we will. But that's a long way. It's in New York, and I don't actually know. I know for a fact I won't be able to go to that. So I really want to get down there and do kind of a boots on the ground view of everything, show you where the house is in conjunction where the people were found on the beach. It's been something I've wanted to do since this man has been arrested, but due to other cases, budgets, and other things, and the fact that Olivia wanted to go with me and we just never caught up to go do this case. It's just, I'd like to get out there at some point just to look around and get a lay of the land. So that's where we're at in the case. It's going to be March 28th. Prosecutors disagree and are confident that the court will deem the evidence admissible, saying the technique is used in a wide variety of scientific and forensic settings. For over 30 years, New York State courts have continuously adopted to embrace advancement in DNA technology. Assistant District Attorney Andrew Lee said in a statement. So there is a very good update on the Gilgo Beach. Again, Rex Heuermann's has been in the news quite a bit. We just covered where they're looking at him for a drowning in the area. What is going on with you? You got fees? Just hear you squatty. You don't squatch like that. You got fees? Or is that a hot spot? And you shouldn't have a hot spot for a house. Is it good, baby? La la la. Still cute as ever. Say hi, everybody. I keep going out of the covers and then getting on the covers and then going out the covers. She loves me. She loves me. She had a little trash in her eyes and she wouldn't let me get it out, but she would let me put eye drops in her eyes. She trusts me. She loves me. She loves me. She loves me. I do love her. Okay, I'm going to stop gushing. Getting back to everything that's going on, and now that we're done with kind of our top stories that are being covered in the news, we have one that is rising up to the top, and we all know what one it is. It is the Pennsylvania student in the Dominican Republic that went missing. It is starting to heat up, so much so, they have now named a person of interest. And my mind is starting to get blown about this case because both of these students are from the United States of America. One is an Iowa student and one is a PA student. How in the world did we get here? This is insane. This is insane. Let me go over here and just thank everybody that has contributed today. Thank you so much. We will have a mullet party, and it is going to come. I've got it. It's going to be coming right after this case here. Melanie wants to say, Betty, you are amazing. Love you, and Delilah and everyone else. You guys rock. Thank you so much. Cheyenne gave 2. And is this a super sticker? Oh, or super chat? Okay, super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I couldn't tell. Sometimes it's a super sticker that doesn't come through, and sometimes it's a super chat. So I can't tell if it's a super sticker or a super chat. I can only wait until after the live is over and go back and look. But I do appreciate them. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I miss Delilah. I know you do. I gotta put a tracker on Delilah when she's with you. I'm scared you're gonna run off. I'm scared you're going to run off. So there has been some twists and turns in the case of this, and I'm having a hard time pronouncing her name. I think a few people are. I was trying to listen to Vinnie Politan last night just to try to get that name correct, and I don't think, I still don't think I have it correct at all. It is Sadiksha. I cannot pronounce it. Does anybody know the proper pronunciation of it? Because it really does drive me a little bonkers that I don't say the name right. It's just like, I don't know, it's like a pet peeve of mine or something like that. And I'd really like to say it correctly. Let me see if I can put it in a pronunciator. Hold on, let's see if I can put it in a pronunciator. Let's see. No guarantees that the way it pronounces it is correct, but pronounce. Let's see if we have an audio. Okay. Sadiksha. I think that is what it. I wish they had the little, the little sound. Let me see if I can get one with sound. Let's see. How to pronounce. Here, let's listen. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Sudiksha. Okay, well, I guess I did have it right. I didn't know. Sudiksha. So I guess I did have it right. I just got to remember that's how you pronounce it. Sudiksha. Okay, so Sudiksha, she went to the Dominican Republic for spring break with 6 other classmates, and they were out. It appears they were having a pretty good time. Let me see if I can find the video with them out. The video has been released of the kids. Why the heck is it? I thought I had it. Maybe I don't. Heck darn it. Anyways, it had the video of this young girl out with the infamous video where you saw them walking. They were with another couple. Allegedly, that couple left and decided to leave them alone, and allegedly they were in the water together. And then the kid from Iowa, which has now been named, and he is, let's just read the article. I can't remember what his name is. Ribe, but I think they put an extra I. Some people are putting 2 I's, R-I-I-B-E, but Joshua Ribe, he's 24 and was seen draped around, his arm draped around in the video. So let me see, maybe this is the one with the video on it. Well, no, it was an actual video, but there they are right there. And he's got his arm draped around her, and now she's missing. There, and this was all a video. So they got clips of the video right here, and you can see she's here, and why they blurred out his face, I'm unsure, especially since they're showing his face right here. Yeah, I don't know why, but that is what it is. So he has now been officially named as a person of interest in her disappearance. Now, I don't know what that truly means because they said that they have no signs of a struggle. They have her clothing on a chase lounger, but there's no sign of a struggle. And he's on the beach. Apparently, there's a lot of alcohol. It appears that everybody seemed at least slightly inebriated in the video I saw, even though I can't produce it. But police said the well-built former high school wrestler, he was a wrestler, and that worries me too, because it's kind of funny. I was just talking to, not to throw your business out, the real Me Too, but when we were out at the vigil, the last vigil, we were talking, and she was talking about an incident that happened to her when she was younger. And it was of her being in the pool with a boy, and he kind of did a neck lock or whatever and kind of dropped her body down in the pool. Well, whatever he did, and I can't remember the exact, but it was just roughhousing that turned really, really, really bad. Allegedly, she broke her back. Allegedly, she broke her back. She had surgery. I mean, she broke her back. If I'm misconstruing that or got it wrong, please clarify it, the real Me Too in there. But something majorly happened to like your back or spinal cord or something like that. She's not in a wheelchair or anything like that. She is not paralyzed either. But she had an incident where it was roughhousing in a pool that she could have, if he would have walked away from her and left her there, she could have drowned. She could have died. So I just wonder if maybe something like that happened and he didn't realize he hurt her and went back, something, I don't know. And it is very possible that maybe something more devious happened. I mean, maybe they were in the water and he wanted things more than she did. And next thing you know, he's trying to hold her. I don't want to describe it. And, he doesn't realize during this he drowned her. There's that. And there's also the other side of it is this is the Dominican Republic. People disappear all the time. What if he passed out and she passed out next to him and somebody snatched her? I mean, there are so many different variables of what could have truly happened. And then there's also the possibility that a wave just overtook her and did take her out because she herself was inebriated, kind of like a Riley Strain situation. There's so many possibilities. And so I think it's very telling that without observing a crime scene or seeing a disturbance or struggle, to be naming someone a person of interest, maybe they have to flag somebody a person of interest in order to allow them to do certain types of investigations into their past backgrounds. It might help them be able to get different types of warrants or subpoenas. We don't know in law enforcement what that designation allows law enforcement to now do or proceed with. And many people don't understand that. Law enforcement just can't, willy-nilly investigate you, okay? They have to have what's known as probable cause. And in order to establish probable cause, you're going to have to, in my opinion, be a person of interest or a suspect. And I think that allows them to dive in there, because on their sheet, even, which case was it? The Gilgo Beach case. And it was Shannon Gilbert's paperwork. If you look at Shannon Gilbert's paperwork and they talk about her driver, he's listed as a witness, why that homeowner is listed as the suspect. But if you listen to, I think his name's Michael, if you listen to his statement, you can clearly hear her on the phone with 911 as she exited the house. And Michael says whenever she exited the house that he went looking for her in his Suburban or whatever truck he was driving. He's the one that had her purse, and he's the one that had her cell phone. How in the world did he get her cell phone if she was on it when she left the house? And we could tell she was on it because you could hear the 911 call that she was on. So I've never understood why Michael on the paperwork behind the scenes was listed as a witness and not a possible suspect, like the gentleman's, the owner of that house that she ran out of. Because the only thing that the neighbor saw is Michael driving the car around looking for her. They didn't see the neighbor running out of his house searching for her, only him. I never understood that. And I feel like it's just incompetent, or, they had a green detective, which still comes back to incompetence, or there's something that I've missed or hasn't been revealed to the public that leads them to believe it was more the homeowner than the driver of her. Because that driver, he was the one that was embarrassed by her behavior. That driver was the one driving around the neighborhood. How did he get her purse and her cell phone when she was clearly on the phone, yet he tells detectives he never saw her again? He could never locate her when he was driving around the neighborhood looking for her. It's the cell phone. The key is her cell phone, in my opinion. So unless whatever phone she was on was his house phone and it went clear across the, neighborhood. I heard it was a cell phone she was using. I heard it was her cell phone she was using. I don't know. Because when the 911 call came in, she was hiding in his room or in his closet saying she was in fear for her life, that she was going to be unalive. Anyways, we'll go on that with another show. I don't want to get too far in the weeds. The university students, because now we have the Iowa, I guess, wrestler. What school did he go to? She went to the University of Pittsburgh, and he went to, why can't I see it in here? Did I already move on? Oh, because I'm on the wrong article. That's why. Former high school wrestler, but what school did he go to? Why aren't they telling us what school he went to? I know he's from Iowa. There's a picture of him right there. Joshua Bride. I mean, he looks like a roughhouser, and he looks like somebody that probably drinks probably more than he should. Does it necessarily mean that he becomes violent whenever he's drinking? We don't know. Only people that have been around him while he's been drinking would know. If anybody knows this student or anybody knows the victim and can give me a beat, pulse on who these people were, outside of the story, like who they are in general, like he might be a big old teddy bear that loves to help people, and I need some background information because we don't know these people. Oh, I'm not even showing you him. We don't know these people. So that's a picture of him that's being accused, or not accused. He's just a person of interest, but I can't figure out what they mean by that. I've read umpteen articles here. I've got literally 5 or 6 articles, tabs at the top, and I still can't figure out, because every single article says, but we can't count out this or that. It's never direct on what he's a person of interest for, outside of him just being with her earlier that night. I know he's given mixed information, but is that really because he was lying? Or is it because he was intoxicated and truly just doesn't remember? See, those are the things that are hard for me to understand. And I'm trying to get a handle on that, but it's very difficult without knowing who these people are. Even the victim, she looked like a very sweet young student, right? She obviously has a great head on her shoulders. The program that she was pre-med, that is some tough stuff. Okay, that is no joke. That is a tough education to have for pre-med. So she obviously, in my opinion, just on the outward looking in, appears to have a good head on her shoulders and responsible, because you can't get into pre-med at barely any university if you're not a good student with good grades. So, oh, Deanna, you got to have cataract surgery. Oh my. Well, we'll definitely pray for you. Let me know whenever you're going to have that. I don't like surgeries. I don't like surgeries at all. So, in my earlier show on the main channel, there was somebody telling me that I needed to look at the bed crime stories. I was showing, we had a situation where a viewer reached out to a content creator or was posting in the chat. I think that's what was going on. I got some screenshots. There were some posts in the chat. Now, it is possible, it sounded like, I heard also Justin talking about it and reading something, and it sounds to me like Justin was reading maybe a text message between him and the person that was in his chat. So I don't know. I wasn't there, first and foremost, so I'm trying to make heads or tails of it. And I'm not sure if anybody knows who this person is or if this is a wild tale. Sometimes it's hard, even for content creators. When we hear something, we need to explore it and have to decide whether it makes sense or not, if we've done our due diligence and stuff like that. But it sounds like this is legitimate from what I'm seeing. I haven't seen like receipts of it yet, but it's coming from a content creator that I fully trust, and I fully trust to vet the information. And it sounds like there's a text message that she's reading from, which tells me he's in direct communication with this person, which gives me a little more, firmness to it being most likely true than not. And it wasn't until after the live ended that somebody, or that I just saw it. It could have been sent to me before the live started, but it wasn't until after the live ended that I saw an email from one of the subscribers on the main channel that sent me the bed crime stories commentary on this. And I do think the commentary is reasonable, because I think she's hitting all the bells and whistles that I'm talking about. How do we know this is true, this, that, and the other. The only thing I can say is that it looks like Justin is in direct communication with this person, but I could be wrong about that. I have not confirmed that with Justin at all, and will, as soon as I can humanly possible. I forgot to email him. That's all it comes down to, is just I forgot to email him and ask him. So I'm going to play it here, even though this is not typically what we play on this day.
Matched on Bumble, which is an online.
Let me put that to you guys. Right here. There we go. All right, let me put myself down here. There we go. And so I wanted to go over this because this is kind of reiterating information that everybody can kind of understand. And I'll bring it back. I just want to get past her bedtime story. There we go. Okay.
Towns with small neighborhoods, small people, gossip. If there's been a loud argument at so-and-so's house and the windows are open or the people are arguing outside, neighbors notice. Such is the case with Chris and Katie Proudfoot, or at least so their neighbors allege. We heard the neighbor Bobby say that another neighbor heard Chris and Katie tearing into each other in their backyard one day. We've heard rumors that I believe must have come from neighbors about Katie possibly spending too much time while Chris was away working with a male neighbor who lived.
I'm still wondering where that statement came from. Who said this first? Where did this, with the male neighbor behind them, come out first? I'm just trying to, because if we're wrong, I want to make sure that we can correct the information, but I have not been able to find out who started that rumor to begin with.
Lives behind the Proudfoot home and who works part-time for the local PD. This is all hearsay on another YouTube channel called Clutch Them Pearls, which I'll leave a link to in the description. A lady recently wrote in the chat that she allegedly met with Chris Proudfoot 8 to 9 months ago after getting matched on Bumble, which is an online dating site. This mystery lady claims that she and Chris had a date at a place called the Patterson House in Nashville.
And we're about to learn, just like the first this morning, that it is pretty swanky. And she's got a few more pictures of the inside, but I think we can conclude that it was a date.
I looked it up, and let me tell you, it's a very swanky bar with a 4.8 rating on Google reviews and $3 signs indicating that the drinks don't come cheap. It's not a dive bar. No shade to dive bars, though, because I love me a good dive bar with good classic. I'm a nice meeting place, allegedly. Again, this is a story told by a mystery person in a YouTube live chat. According to this lady, Chris used his actual name.
So Chris used his actual name. He was saying he was himself. He wasn't trying to hide who he was. What is everybody screaming Crime Time Buzz? I don't think Crime Time Buzz I don't know when Crime Time Buzz created, but I didn't really hear Crime Time Buzz until like just several months past. When did Crime Time Buzz, I don't know if Crime Time Buzz is the one that released that information. That's the problem right there. I'm not sure if that's, I don't trust, unless she produces receipts, I don't trust anything she says. Not that everything she says is a flat out lie, but that's why I don't go. I'm not going to sit there and do additional research, expect people to, get their crap together. But at the end of the day, we've had a lot of mistakes come out of that channel. Are you talking about J for J or J? But if it's Crime Time Buzz, I trust Crime Time Buzz. That's who reported it. Crime Time Buzz. Let me call you the real me too, because I'm not understanding one-liners for some reason. Give me a second. Let me get a handle on this. Okay, I'm hearing it was originally J for J that put this out. I don't, people may pick it up. I don't pick anything up from her unless she's got receipts for it, because I don't trust anything that comes out of her. Oh, she was online before Justin. Okay. Yeah, but I don't know if it came from her. Oh, well, either way, let me just get the information. If somebody has the link where they heard it first, because I know when I heard it for the first time, I can recollect at what point in the case I remember hearing those rumors, and it was very early on. So I would like to see the URLs if you know which one it was, instead of us guessing. Let me do a little more research on that to find out who was the first to say that, because that's the reason why I asked the question to begin with, is to find out where that originated from. Prime time, same as Justin. Same day as Justin. Oh, started the same day as Justin. Okay. Well, I just must. There's a lot of crime content creators on here that I've never met yet. I mean, it was this case that brought me to the Lore Lodge and the Deception Detective. Never even heard of them before. So, and they have large platforms. So if that tells you anything, so let me, since you guys know where it came from, and you guys are the ones saying that, maybe you guys can look and just send me that, so I can just take just a look, see for myself. I want to look at dates and times of when those were said, because if it was something that maybe Crime Time Buzz at that time, because remember, J for J was on Team Sebastian, and I don't feel like she's there anymore. She's there for Team Clicks and Views. I think maybe Crime Time Buzz might have picked that up and thought that was, I'm just saying, I don't know. That's why I'd like to look. But once we get an understanding of where that originated from, then we can start looking into the truthfulness of it. But right now, I have never heard of a neighbor coming forward, an actual verified neighbor coming forward with legitimate information like that. So that's the only reason why I'm asking. And I know if it came from Crime Time Buzz, that's a little different, because I know she's got contacts in the neighborhood. So, but I need to make sure that it comes from her before we start saying it, because I haven't found any. Oh, sorry, Delilah. I haven't found anybody that's been able to corroborate that information so far. So I'd like, for my own peace of mind, I'd like to corroborate it before I've corroborated Chris's, right? I'm not holding any of that back, but before I throw shade on somebody, I'd like it corroborated to satisfy, my need to be factual. So right now I can only say it's rumor. And of course, Bed Crime Stories also says allegedly, and she emphasized that.
Now, according to this person, Chris told her that he had a deceased child who died in a car accident on a 2-lane highway. That's quite an elaborate story, and it's disturbing on so many levels. And yes, we need to talk about it because of what it could indicate.
Now, I want to say this here. this is going to be where it gets tricky, okay? This is where it's going to get super, super tricky, just in my opinion, because a statement like this is obviously bombshell. To people like us, it's bombshell information, because we've heard other people that are sitting in prison, saying similar stuff about their victims. And so, hold on a second. Okay, perfect. MC, I thank you. Thank you. But, how do you verify this? The only thing she can really verify is that, at that time, so this is before we heard of this story, that means way back 9-10 months ago, she can show this connection on her Bumble. There's ways to verify it, because how can you really verify? I mean, we can't go to the restaurant. It's been, 9-10 months since this date. So the reality of them having a recording of even the specific date, she knows where she was, she knows what day she went there, she knows what time she showed up. You can have all those specific information, but what recorder holds things for 10 solid months? I just don't see that. I mean, is it? I guess it never hurts to ask, but the probability is so low that how is she going to be able to really corroborate that she went on a date with Chris? There are several things. There are the text messages. There are the messages in the Bumble app. And there is the receipt of this connection happening way back then with his profile. She says he used his real name. So certainly this could be corroborated with just a little, the corroboration doesn't need to be public. What we need is we just need somebody that's trusted to corroborate it, that will keep things confidential. I believe that person to be Justin, right? There's a few people that keep everything hush, 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 and he would be one. And if he's already having direct communication with this person, there's already a level of trust there. So that's what makes me believe, now I could be wrong. He might just be reading from his phone and reading the statements that were, screenshotted, and I'm just assuming that he has direct contact with this person and doesn't. But if he does have direct contact with this person, I have to believe he would verify the authenticity before he released the information, this bombshell. So that's just my opinion. It doesn't equate to fact. It's just based upon knowing the people.
About the two adults Sebastian was living with full time at the time of his disappearance. First off, if this story is true, it would mean that Chris was cheating on Katie, allegedly, and doing it just 2 months after her autistic teen.
I don't know if that implies he was cheating on her. I mean, yes, they're married, but we've had a lot of information, although rumors so far, from the very beginning of this case, that alleged a lot more, that this marriage, we keep talking about, why doesn't Chris touch her, right? Why isn't Chris consoling her? Well, we keep asking about these behaviors of Chris, but wouldn't that be explained if they're not really in much of a relationship right now? If their marriage was already on the rocks, and, now this family emergency has happened where they have to come together for the sake of the case, allegedly, right? Could it be that they were, it's like I said, rumor has it, and it's just rumor. I have no way of corroborating it just yet, unless somebody drops a golden goose in my email, that they were even, so far where they were splitting up assets. That's the rumors I'm hearing, where their marriage was at the time of Sebastian's disappearance. So would that really mean he was cheating if they had already been separated? I mean, even now we're hearing rumors that they're living in two separate homes. That they're, we're all hearing these rumors, right? I'm not the only one that's heard that they've got an apartment, right? They haven't been back to the house, right? Am I the only one? If I'm the only one, put a 1 in the chat. If you guys heard those same rumors, put a 2 in the chat. I know we don't cover them on the main channel, but I mean, I'm hearing the rumors though. Who would want to be? He ain't all. No, I get that. But when you go to a swanky restaurant, some of these ladies look past the looks, too. Okay. But I don't know.
It would mean that Chris was cheating on Katie, allegedly, and doing it just 2 months after her autistic teen, Sebastian, went missing, when Chris should have been home comforting her.
But he hasn't really publicly comforted her. Is this the reason why he had to get back to Memphis so quickly? Under the guise he had to get his camper. Remember, guys, we kept saying that. I even said that the other day. I said, how do we know? We don't even know what Chris's alibi was. Maybe that's what he doesn't want. Maybe that's why he doesn't want his alibi released. Maybe he was living with another woman. And that would have been a public PR crisis and nightmare for them. Now, this is all speculative. This is not fact. But what if? What if them having to admit that their relationship was over, and now that this has happened and they're kind of back together and, sitting on these interviews and, going off to different states together. This is a lot different than the way it's been in their household for months of loneliness. I don't know. This would make other things that are going on that we couldn't explain in the case kind of explain themselves, don't you think? If this statement is true, this would explain the behavior where they're not touching each other. This interview here is dubbed the green shirt interview. It happened on March 4th, or at least released on March 4th. And we thought it was very odd about Chris's and Katie's behavior, not touching, not consoling, not comforting. Excuse me. And they've been kind of this way for a really long time. Like it takes pulling teeth to get them to even hold hands. I mean, that hands video was the only time that we had seen them touch each other at all on camera for almost an entire year before they recorded the video with WSMV, which has them staging the holding of hands at the very end, because they were stiff as boards on camera, separated from each other, not consoling each other. And if you look at Chris's eyeballs and face when Katie's talking, I mean, it tells a lot, in my opinion. It tells a lot. But those are the only 2 instances in an entire year we've seen these people even remotely touch each other, let alone console each other. Maybe this whole marital issue was a lot bigger than we knew. Maybe it truly was over.
Or it could indicate that perhaps Katie is okay with Chris hanging out with other women and vice versa. I don't know. But if Katie is upset about it, could that be why she looked so teary-eyed and red-faced in her recent interviews with local reporters? Is she teary and puffy and red because she chose a cheating husband over her only biological child? And if so, has she now realized what a mistake that was? Neither Chris Proudfoot nor Katie has been charged with any crime in connection with Sebastian's disappearance, and law enforcement keeps saying there's no evidence of foul play. Second, this story is alarming because if Chris would tell a tale about a deceased child, who is that child? As far as I know, he only has one bio child, and that's Faith. And his only son would have been his stepson, Sebastian. So who was Chris talking about? Sebastian. Does this tell us that Chris and Katie haven't shared the full story of Sebastian's mysterious disappearance?
Yes, I think it would conclude that they have not shared everything that they know about it. So thank you guys for taking the poll. The poll is 83% of our viewers love the daily news segment. I love it. I love it. And we have, reached our goal? Mullet party. We're going to play the mullet part. We're going to do the mullet party as well as Sebastian's Army song, because some of you guys may not have heard it. And then getting on with other parts of the news. This is high. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you guys. New York has now had their first child measles confirmation. We knew that, and I reported here on this channel. I know we're not a medical channel, but I know I have a lot of families. I have a lot of parents, grandparents with children. And when it comes to our health, if I see something, I say something. And so we reported the outbreak in the beginning. I think there was only 3 cases in Texas. I think that has ballooned now to many more cases. I think it's like under 10 or 15, but it might be even higher than that. I can't recall. It might even be lower than that. I just know that we reported at 3. And then all of a sudden, I think I read a report about 7, and that was a few weeks ago. So I'd have to think that there might be some more than that. But do your own research. But it seems like the first reports we heard about were in Texas. Now, as of today, I'm reading of the first reports of one adolescent patient that has now been confirmed to have measles in New York. So be careful, take precautions. If you don't know what measles is, we're not going to have an education session on it just yet. But you can go and type in measles into your Google search engine, and you can find ways to help prevent catching it. Many of us have a measles vaccination, so it may not affect us. This may be more for our people, youngsters that don't have vaccinations. I know with the uptick in autism, a lot of parents are, opting not to have their children vaccinated or waiting later, in down the road in the development before they have their children vaccinated. So those would be the ones that I'd be concerned about first and foremost. Yes, measles has been reported in 12 different states, Michelle Vincent says. So do you know what, let me see what states they are in. So let me just do a quick little measles. Yeah, well, the CDC has reported over 200 cases, and the 2 recent deaths in Texas and New Mexico. Now we have our first one, child under 5. And now I'm reading an hour ago, 12 residents possibly exposed to the virus. So now we're going to probably have a little bit of an outbreak in New York, but I don't, not off a quick cursory. Those are the ones that I have. So it sounds like this is coming from the Vermont Department of Health, which confirms measles. So it looks like we've added, I don't know who the other ones are, but I see New Mexico as well as Vermont. And now we're hearing in New York. So just do whatever you can to protect you and your family. There is something kind of circulating, and and this affects the children. This is one of those things that affects the children more than anybody else, children and elderly. So if you're young or old, you might want to, consider taking extra precautions. Another little tidbit, and this has been reported. This was reported a few days ago, but I missed it. 9 students who went missing while on vacation found dismembered on the side of a highway in Mexico. And again, this was from a few days ago. I'm not going to go into the gory details of it, but I would definitely be cautious about going. And again, we talked about it yesterday when we were talking about Shadika. I'm not looking at her name, otherwise I'll probably say it. But the PA student in the Dominican Republic, I say I don't go into other countries. We went over, I kind of got long-winded with the message of why I won't go into different countries. And just this day and age, I just don't feel it's safe. If I felt it was safe, I would go. I'm an explorer, I love looking at new things. I love exploring new places. So it's for me to say I would not go this day and age. No, we got too much HT going on in this country. I would not, I don't know. I'm just superstitious like that. I'm just, there's something going on in this world, okay? And I'm kind of here in my little comfortable nook called the United States of America that, I know the laws because I've lived here in my entire life. And while our laws aren't perfect, they work. Over in the Dominican Republic, we don't know if somebody can be paid off. We don't know, we don't know. And we definitely know that there's a lot of cartels and we can't trust the government over in Mexico. So it's hard. I know these places are lavish and they're beautiful and they're gorgeous, but I don't know, just this day and age, I'm not sure it's something I'm willing to do right now. And now we got 9 students dismembered over in Mexico. Let me read some of this to you guys. 9 bodies believed to have been missing students were found dismembered on the highway in Mexico, according to local reporters. Remains of 4 women and 5 men from Tlaxcala, Mexico, I can't pronounce it, good gracious, were found the evening of Sunday, March 12th in the municipality of San Jose. This is just awful. Mexican National Guard did not immediately respond to people's request for comment. I'm just telling you, I wouldn't be going anywhere until this world calms down. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be going anywhere. I wouldn't be going anywhere. Let's see if this is. We got a husband in Florida that's arrested after wife is ODs. He's 47-year-old, and his 47-year-old wife died from meth with an E overdose back in January. His name's Dean Nelson. He's 52. He's been charged with murder after the sheriff said he unlawfully gave the substances to his wife. So they're even going after the husband and couples, the other person. I'd be careful with this stuff out there on these streets this day and age. You don't know what's in it. And if you've got substance abuse, I definitely recommend that you guys seek help. I don't know what else to say. Everybody has to. You have to realize you're powerless over the substance, whatever your substance of choice is. If you are having substance abuse problems, and that includes alcohol, seek help. Whether you want to admit it or not, So if you feel like you're in that category, I'd prefer husbands and wives getting clean together. It makes it a lot easier. But now it appears that if you're the runner and you bring it back and something happens, you can go to jail for murder, even though you were most likely partying right next to them. I don't know how this law is going to work. I never heard of it before, but I don't know how this is going to work. I think I might follow that case just to see how it proceeds in the court system, because it's not like he's a dealer, and if they're acquiring it together, I don't know. If this goes through, other states are going to start trying to do it as well, and I just don't know if throwing people with substance abuse in jail for, second-degree murder is kind of the way we fix this problem. Just saying. But, hey, don't you know our government knows better? Sorry, not sorry. All right, guys, that wraps us up. We have, 78-year-old vanishes 2 years ago, but Florida home just went up in flames. This is I forgot about this, but that was a month ago, so it's not really breaking news. All right, guys, we will be back. We'll be back on the main channel. This is kind of your daily recap of some of the interesting news that I found. Some of it's, headliners. Some of it's not really headliners. But we try to cover everything that we can in the time slot that we have, which I give myself an hour. And every day I seem to go over my hour to try to get this in. I guess a little wordy, I don't do scripts over here. So maybe if I did a script, we'd probably get it wrapped up in an hour. But I love hanging out with you guys for the little bit of time that we get to hang out. And I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. And yes, Mexico is beautiful. I'd love to go, but you know what? Call me a scaredy cat. I'll take scaredy cat. I don't care. I just don't trust the world this day and age. I just don't. I feel like if people leaving the country are leaving literally at their own risk. And I just want to make sure you understand you don't always make it back. And I don't know. I think I kind of like my lifestyle and my ultra small home with my, my low budget lifestyle with me and my dog. I don't know. I find comfort in the known when it comes to my life. I'm just saying. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. We'll see you soon, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.